Welcome to the eCommerce Badassery podcast, the place for scrappy entrepreneurs who want to learn actionable steps and strategies to grow the traffic, sales, and profit in your e-commerce business. I'm your host, Jessica Totillo-Coster, a 20-year retail veteran and former brick-and-mortar boutique owner who spent 3 years as the only employee of a 7-figure online store. That shit was crazy. I know exactly how it feels to do all the things, and I'm sharing everything I learned the hard way so you don't have to. I may have started this business by accident, but supporting badass bosses like you lights me the fuck up, and I am so stoked to see you grow. Are you ready, babe? Let's roll. Welcome back to the eCommerce Badassery podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Totillo-Coster. Now that we're settling into 2025, you've probably spent some time setting your business goals for the year, mapping out where you want to go, how much revenue you need to generate, and what you need to do to make that happen. If you haven't done that yet, go back and listen to my recent yearly planning series because it will help you get super clear on your priorities and make sure you're focusing on the things that will actually move the needle in your business. For those of you who already have done the work, one of the main things you likely realized is that in order to hit your sales goals, you need more qualified traffic to your website. And even if that wasn't initially on your radar, maybe because you focus mostly on marketplace sales or thought you'd prioritize repeat customers, hopefully after last week's episode, Navigating 2025, you know that one of the most important things you can do to protect your business in these uncertain times is to focus on growing sales on your own website and selling within your own country's borders. No matter what the case for your unique business, truth is, getting more traffic to your website is likely always going to be on your to-do list. The unfortunate truth, though, is driving qualified traffic is one of the hardest things to do. And while there are plenty of organic or free, and I say free with quotation marks, ways to do that, organic is slow and sometimes we just ain't got time for that. That's why today I wanted to talk about the power of meta ads and what you need to know about running them in 2025. Before we get into it, let's answer the number one question most people have, and that is, do meta ads still work in 2025? In short, yes, meta ads are still working. Even with the supposed exodus of Meta, we discussed this on episode 314 if you don't know what I'm talking about, there are still a ton of people on the platform, and it's likely your customer is there too. I know things have never been quite the same since iOS 14 all those years ago. Audience targeting has changed, reporting has changed, and gone are the days when you could track that linear path from ad interaction to sale on your website. But none of that means ads don't work. It just means you have to adjust your approach. And truth is, Meta has been making adjustments behind the scenes to ensure you can still be successful with Facebook ads because let's be real, that's how they make their money. And as an advertiser, this is good news for you because most of the heavy lifting is done by the Meta algorithm. Now, while Meta ads work for most e-commerce businesses, they won't work for all e-commerce businesses, at least not yet. While this isn't an exhaustive list of what you'll need in place to ensure success with ads, these 4 are the bare minimum. 1, have a product under $150, even better if it's under $100. While you can sell more expensive products through ads, that typically comes with a longer path to purchase, and the longer it will take to make your ads profitable. 2, have a website that converts. If your website doesn't currently convert at 1 to 3%, you're going to want to figure that out first. Now, if you convert lower than that because you have some old blog posts that attract a bunch of looky-loos, or you have Pinterest traffic that doesn't convert, that's okay. As long as you hit that 1 to 3% conversion rate, excluding that traffic, then you're still good to go. 3, have email automations in place. You don't have to have perfectly optimized email automations that you've tested and tweaked over the past 3 years, but you do have to have email automations. Not everyone who visits your site from ads is going to purchase right away, and you need to be able to follow up with them. Remember, email automation is the catch-all for all of your other marketing activity. 4, Have a test and try mindset. This is arguably the most important one because ads require patience and testing, and what works for one business is not necessarily going to work for another. For example, with some of our lounge members, the types of ads and strategies they're using are completely different, yet they're all successful. Lounge member A is an artist who sells her designs on pet products. When she has a new seasonal collection available, she centers her ads around those designs and they do well. Every time we try and create an evergreen ad that she can scale over time, it doesn't work so well. We haven't given up on this just yet. We've got some other ideas about how she can approach it, but for right now, seasonal ads are the strategy. Lounge member B just set up her first Advantage Plus campaign, the kind where you do almost nothing as the advertiser and let the algorithm do all the work. For some people, this ends up turning into a supercharged retargeting ad and doesn't bring in any new customers. For her, it's going gangbusters and the most profitable ad she has ever had. And yes, it is bringing her new people. Lounge member C just started running ads a couple months ago, and when she was doing her numbers with the spreadsheet I provided, she asked in the activity feed, like the main community part, to make sure she was reading the numbers correctly. She couldn't believe how well they were performing. She thought she was looking at them wrong and that those numbers couldn't possibly be correct. And she's really just focusing on a best-selling t-shirt design and slowly increasing her budget. Each one of them is technically running a different ad strategy, but it's working for all of them. Did they hit it out of the park on day one? No. It took some trial and error to figure out what works for them. But now they've got it dialed in and can just keep improving not only the ad results, but the repeat business from those new customers that they're getting through the ads. Of course, there's one other thing you need to run ads: money. Yes, in this case, it does take money to make money. I know this is a big hesitation for a lot of people. You're already spending money on so many things to keep the lights on in your business. Can you really afford another expense? But ads are not an expense. They're an investment. When done well, ads can bring you back 1, 2, even 3 times your initial investment, often on the first purchase. Have a product that creates a lot of repeat business? Well, how much revenue will you make from each of your new customers when they come back and buy from you again and again? I also encourage you to look at what you're spending your time, energy, and yes, money on in your business and see if there's something you can cut. How much time are you spending on social media, for example? Last month on our lounge Q&A, someone was spending hours, multiple hours a week so that they could post multiple times a day on social, and there was little to no return she could show for it. Think about all the progress you could make if you had that time back. So the question is, what is a good ad budget? In order to properly test and give the algorithm the time and space it needs to do its thing, according to our resident meta ad strategist in the lounge, Anna, you need $30 per day. All right, so you've got the 4 must-have things and you've got $1,000 that you can spend on ads. So now you might be wondering, can you do ads yourself? The answer is yes, you can absolutely do ads yourself. If you had asked me this same question a few years ago, I probably would have said no. But it's so much easier to run ads now than it was back then. Back in the day, running meta ads felt like rocket science. You needed multiple audience segments, complex retargeting sequences, and a dozen different campaign structures just to see results. It was overwhelming, time-consuming, and hard to know if you were doing it right. But now, like I mentioned, Meta does most of the heavy lifting for you. Thanks to their improved machine learning and automation, the best performing ad strategies are actually the simplest ones. You don't need 15 different ad sets or complicated funnel structures. You don't have to constantly tweak things or be glued to Ads Manager every day. Really, please do not do that. The algorithm is smarter than ever, meaning all you really need to focus on is a good creative that speaks to your ideal customer, a clear offer that gets them to take action, and a simple ad setup that gives Meta room to optimize. That's it. You don't have to be an ads expert. You do not need an agency. You don't need to spend hours trying to hack the system because the system wants to work for you. When you give it the right inputs, good creative, strong product, Meta does the rest. So if you've been overcomplicating ads or assuming you need to hire someone to do them for you, and that's what's holding you back, this is where we put an end to that. With the right guidance, you can totally do this yourself and get results without the additional investment. And look, I always recommend that you are dangerous enough at any given thing before you outsource it so you know that person is doing a good job and you don't get ripped off. I'd love to have a more positive view of people, but I'm a cynical New Yorker and watch way too much true crime to trust people with my money. This is why so many celebrities and professional athletes end up getting ripped off by their money managers because they don't know much about managing money. I was just watching Scam Goddess on Hulu. One of the episodes was telling the story about Dennis Rodman and other athletes who got scammed. And of course, they were all too embarrassed to admit it happened to them, so they didn't tell or warn anyone, and it kept happening to other people. Anyway, aside from my very pessimistic view, the other way to think about it is the money that you would spend on an ads manager, especially in the beginning, save that $1,500 to $5,000 a month it costs to outsource it and put it toward your ad budget instead. Okay, so let's pretend you're ready to try ads for the first time in 2025 or to give them another shot after swearing them off. What is the best meta ad strategy for e-commerce in 2025? When we teach meta ads in the lounge, the initial strategy we want everyone to focus on is building out an evergreen ad that can scale. As I mentioned earlier with those 3 different lounge member examples, that strategy doesn't work perfectly for everyone, but it is the one that works the majority of the time, which is why it's the first one we recommend. The idea is that when you first start running your ad at your $30 a day budget, the machine is going to go out and find people who are likely to convert based on that ad. Once your ad starts catching traction, then you raise the budget and the machine goes out to find more people who are likely to convert on the ad based on what it learned. And you continue that process, slowly building up your daily ad budget and increasing your reach. Will that ad eventually fatigue and stop working? Sure. But you can run the same ads for a long time before that happens. And with this strategy, you don't have to worry about always creating new campaigns from scratch. You put the work in up front, you get the right creative and the right message, and then you just keep upping the budget so you can reach more and more people and get more sales. Once you've got things rocking and rolling, you can either continue to try and test new things to see if you can beat that ad's performance, or if you're happy with it, you just let it print money for your business and you go on your merry way, checking in on it periodically. So if you are ready to start getting more qualified traffic to your website, and you don't want it to take all damn year, it might be time to start meta ads. This is a chance for you to create a reliable source of traffic that you can adjust when and if you need, kind of like a water faucet. If you want step-by-step guidance to make sure you're doing it right, join us in the lounge before February 17th for our meta ad sprint. Over the course of 4 weeks, we'll walk you through setting up and optimizing your first or next ad so you don't have to do it alone. You'll get a clear roadmap, personalized feedback, and a supportive community to help you stay on track. Head to ecommercebadassery.com/membership to join. Whether you start ads today or 3 months from now, my ultimate goal is for you to just stop being afraid of them. Like most things in business, we overthink paid ads, and so many of us miss out on the opportunity to fast track our success. At the end of the day, I want you to make more while doing less, and investing in ads is a great way to make that a reality. And that, my friends, is a wrap on this week's episode. As always, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a kick-ass rest of your week, and I'll see you on the flip side. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you want to learn more about growing your e-commerce business, get started with my free resource library at ecommercebadassery.com/free stuff and get an invite to the lounge, my e-commerce marketing membership. When you're ready for one-on-one support, apply to work with me at ecommercebadassery.com/apply. Before you go, would you do me a quick favor? Leave a rating and review and tap that follow button. This pushes me up the chart so I can support more scrappy e-commerce entrepreneurs just like you. I'm on a mission to reach as many as I can, and I could really use your help. Thanks so much in advance. Until next time, e-commerce friend, stay badass.